Hi guys, it's SimLicy here, so welcome to another part of my Renovating EA series, and this time I am renovating the Goth's family house, which I am so excited to share with you guys. I love the way this renovation turned out, so I hope you will like it too. So I did run a poll over on my Twitter to see which renovation you guys wanted to see next, and the Goth's house won against the Pancakes home, so I will definitely share the Pancakes house next. It was kind of a silly poll since, of course, I'm going to share both of the renovations anyways, but I thought I would see which one you guys would rather see next, and the Goth's family house won by 60%, so it was pretty close. 60-40 was pretty close, I thought. But anyways, so yes, I do love the way this renovation turned out, and I did change it a lot, as you can probably tell from the thumbnail and some of the stuff that I'm doing right now. Now, I know some of you guys won't like that because I know that a lot of you guys appreciate it when people do renovations, that they keep it pretty similar to the original structure and design, but I just really don't like this house. I really don't like the color scheme of the interior, the outside structure or color, or the landscaping. I'm not a fan, so I really just tried to embrace it and make it my own build and just have a lot of fun with it, and I really was more concerned about it fitting in with Willow Creek. And I think this version of it fits in a lot better, and I really like the way the interior turns out because this original interior was very confusing to me. It's like this blood red color mixed with some burgundy red colors, black and gold, and then purple. It seems all over the place to me, and it was really quite gaudy and not sophisticated and pretty, which I feel like it should be, because the Goth family is like an iconic family. They are a wealthy family, and I really wanted this house to look sophisticated and comfortable and just a nice home to live in. So even if you aren't playing with the Goth family, you could still enjoy this house. It does still have 3 bedrooms like the original build, and the bedrooms are pretty much in the same spot, except for I did move Alexander's bedroom because originally he had this weird room on the top of the house that I do get rid of. I don't understand that and don't like it, so I got rid of that. And yeah, he has a bedroom now on the 2nd floor of the house. And then I also moved where the master bedroom was, because originally Cassandra's bedroom was where I put the master bedroom, but the way I did the rooms, I felt like it just made more sense to switch their rooms around. And I also was able to move the house forward a little bit to give them a little bit more outdoor space, because their outdoor space was so small. I mean, this is a really large house to be on such a small lot. This is a 30 by 20 lot, I believe, and the house is just massive. So I do move it forward slightly. And originally I was going to keep this wraparound porch to keep with the original build a little bit more, but I decided to just keep the porch on the front and the back of the house. I do really like the wraparound, but I just felt like it would look a little bit cleaner and better if I just left the porches on the front and the back. And at this point, I decided to change the wallpaper. I was really trying to stick with like kind of a brick theme, but I just felt like siding would work so much better in Willow Creek, and I don't know, I feel like it just matches so much better. So definitely let me know what you guys think. Hopefully you guys agree with my changes, but if not, you can still use the original version, of course. But I mean, other people have renovated it too, so maybe you prefer their renovations. But I also end up getting a basement in this house, so that was pretty much the main changes that I made with the first story. I moved the staircase and the bathroom just to make, well, I felt like I needed to move the staircase to make the floor plan flow a little bit better, but then I moved the bathroom to make an entryway for a basement. And I do show the decorating of the basement at the end of the video, but I don't show any screenshots of it because it doesn't really make any sense to do a before and after of a basement. Since there was no before, I would just probably show a black picture. So I decided to leave that out, but you could of course download the house to get a closer look. And yeah, it's on the gallery. And what else did I want to say about this? Oh yeah, I ended up adding a swimming pool in the backyard, as well as a barbecuer and a place to eat and a couple of lounge chairs, as well as a swing set, just because there was literally 0 things for your Sims to do outside on this lot. So I definitely wanted to add some play equipment for Alexander and just a place to hang out and for the family to enjoy themselves. And I definitely thought this was the type of house and family to have a swimming pool. So I was happy to be able to fit one of those in. Even though it's a pretty small pool, I do think it works pretty nicely. But here I am deleting the side of the porch. Now you could easily put this back if you wanted to, but I just felt like it looked so clean, and I really liked the look of all of those windows running down like that straight wall, and then I put little planter boxes on each window, and I just thought it looked really nice. And I thought about putting a gate around, but it's just such a small lot that I felt like if I added anything like that, it would just be so cramped. I do end up adding like bushes around to kind of separate the back space a little bit from the rest of the neighborhood, But yeah, decided not to do a fence in the end, and just changing up the railing. I was originally going with, I think, the ones that came with Jungle Adventure, but they were just a little bit too detailed, and decided that I would go with simpler base game ones instead. But now we're on into the interior. So here I am just kind of trying to figure it all out, just deleting items. The living room stays in the same location and pretty much has the same shape. Actually, I think the exact same shape that it originally does. May have like maybe a little bit smaller or something like that. And the bathroom, I do end up moving, like I said, and the staircase as well. I also end up swapping where the dining area is and the kitchen, because I think I read somewhere or heard somewhere that the Goth family is like a family that likes to entertain, or Bella likes to entertain. So I felt like having the dining room on the opposite side flowed better with the living room, and then keep the kitchen over in the corner, because I imagine if they're entertaining, they're not cooking. I just imagine that they're the type of family that would hire a cook and they would be eating and socializing rather than cooking with their guests. So that's what I was thinking. I thought about also creating a butler suite downstairs in the basement, which there's totally room to do that, but I just did like a regular basement with like a washer and dryer. But I imagine they would have a hired maid maybe instead, but a butler possibly. But there's room to do that. Now, there was something that I was really wanting to add but totally spaced it, and that was adding an office for Mortimer, and I didn't end up doing that. So that's, I don't know. I had originally planned to, and I guess just along the way had forgot about it, and I didn't make space for it. But if you wanted to download this house and wanted a computer desk, there is a computer desk in both of the kids' room, which is kind of funny since Mortimer is a writer, but you could easily put one in the master bedroom or create an office space down in the basement. That's what I was thinking, or maybe put one somewhere in the family area. But yeah, that was something I forgot to do that I wanted to. But anyways, so the upstairs floor plan is pretty much coming together. The original ensuite bathroom is pretty much in the same spot. It just has a different entrance since I swapped where the master bedroom was. And also, here in a little bit when I swap the staircase, I moved the upstairs bathroom, because originally it was going to be this tiny little room to the right of the staircase. And I end up creating like a family area at the landing at the top of the stairs, which I thought worked pretty nicely, because I wanted to keep the living room quite formal and without a TV. So originally, the original build had the piano upstairs on the stairs landing, and I don't know if they had a TV. Did they even have a TV in this house? Maybe they had a TV in the living room, but I decided to move the piano downstairs in the formal living room, and then have a TV upstairs in like kind of like the hangout, so the kids could hang out up there if the parents are having like a party or something. I thought that just made a little bit more sense, and yeah, just a lot more happy with the layout of this house. And I like that Alexandra is on the same level as the rest of the family and not in this like weird turret tower room that I just feel like doesn't make any sense. But anyways, so for the interior of this house, I used a lot of stuff from Vampires. I thought that it worked perfectly with this style of home. I think the flooring came from Vampires, and a lot of the wallpaper. Definitely the tile that I used in the bathrooms and kitchen is from the Vampires game pack. I always want to say Vampires stuff pack, but it's definitely a game pack. So yes, lots of items from that pack, and then also a lot of stuff just really from base game. Like a lot of the other wallpapers that I use are base game, as well as a lot of the furniture, because the style that I was going for suits a lot of the base game furniture. The bedrooms have a little bit other stuff in it, like vintage glamour, kids room stuff, parenthood, seasons, but those are things that I think you could easily switch out for different items. But so as you can see, the floor plan has pretty much came together. I do move that bathroom like I had mentioned, but this is going to be the formal family living room, and I really love the way this room turns out, and I really enjoy this color scheme that I went with. Now I know it's very different to the reds and the blacks, but I feel like the browns and the soft blues and creams just work so much better and make the house look so much more sophisticated, and I just really like it. So definitely let me know what you guys think. But here I am pulling out the piano. I think originally there was a chess table in front of those windows, and I ended up moving the chess table to one of the balconies. Now that is something that I cut out of the video. I didn't see too much of a point in me showing the furnishing of the balconies, because really I just put a couple places to sit and the chess table, nothing very exciting. But other than that, I really didn't cut out too much of this video. I know it's a really long one, but the actual video footage I think is around like 32 minutes, which isn't too long, I guess. I mean, it's kind of long to do a voiceover. It's a lot to talk over that long. But the screenshots are like 6 or 7 minutes or something. They are forever, but I mean, I think that's because it's such a large house, and so normally the screenshots would be like half as much, but since I had to do before and afters, there's like twice as many screenshots. So yeah, hopefully you do enjoy those. I tried to take them as best as I could from the best angles and showing the change as best as I could. So definitely let me know what you think. But anyway, so the living area is pretty much coming together. I did have to unlock these bookcases because I really wanted to use those. I thought they looked so nice here. And using this chair from Vampires with the high back right next to the bookcase, I thought that was like the perfect spot. Just can imagine Mortimer sitting right there with like a drink and just reading a book and just enjoying himself in his nice house. And I really loved using this furniture with the cushions. I don't use these couches that often, but I thought they suited this house perfectly. But there I just got rid of the TV. So like I said, I do end up adding one upstairs, and then using that painting that I think came with Get Together. I thought that worked so nicely. Now originally at this point, I was going to change this tile to the yellow color, which I think is a little bit more matchy with the color scheme, but I ended up going back to the blue later on just because I felt like it just so bright, and it'll just kind of like this pop to it. And the top of the wallpaper is kind of a blue color, so I felt like it tied in a little bit nicely with that. So that's what I was thinking, and I was trying to think of a way to make that book from Vampires game pack look like sheets of music, so that's why I had that out there for a second. But I didn't think it looked quite right. And here just having a few issues with the freeze, but I worked it all out by deleting that wall. And then I thought about adding a table here behind the couch, but I just felt like it just kind of blocked the couch a little bit and just cluttered up the space too much, so I decided not to in the end and just put a side table over here instead with just one urn on it. Kind of simplistic, I guess. I wanted this house to definitely look lived in because it's an old home, and I imagine that Bella and Mortimer have lived here for a long time, and they'll probably live here the rest of their lives, but I didn't want it to be cluttered and messy, so kind of a simple decorating for this one. But so now we're on into the entryway to the house, and I really like the way this room turns out. I do decorate my foyer areas pretty similar to one another. I mean, there's only so many items. I've mentioned this before. I put like a mirror, shoe stand, clothing rack, and maybe a plant or something. But I do really like the way this one turned out. It does have all of those items, but it's a different style, so that was a lot of fun. And using this mirror trick again that I just used in my uptown luxury apartment, which I thought looked really nice. And I also add this leather chair, which I really like. It's one of my favorite chairs in game. I think it is just really cute. And then I get a side table over here. I end up switching it out for a different one here in a second, but I just put a lamp up there, and I think that one came with Vintage Glamour. It's like a giraffe with a lampshade as his head. That's so cute. It's such a silly item. I would love to have that in real life. And then just some flowers and a clock. But what I really like about this entryway is some of the artwork that I end up placing on the walls. I sized down a lot of our like really more fancier paintings and try to make them look like they are family or friends or relatives of the Goths. So you'll see that in a little bit. But here by the front door, I just put the umbrella stand. I forgot what that was called for a second. But over here I end up putting that other painting that came with this one right here. It came with Get Together. I thought that was kind of cool. It looks like somebody might be related to Mortimer or something. And then up here I wasn't too sure what I should place. I didn't want to place the same paintings over and over, but I felt like those ones just worked so nicely. But what I end up using is the ones that came with cats and dogs, because they have gold frames, so they match pretty nicely. But they're different people, and they still look really fancy, and I think suit the house really nicely. So I was pretty happy about that. But okay, so now we're on into the dining room, and like I said, I end up moving where the dining room is. So I actually get this entire room pretty much furnished, and then I move it over to the kitchen, because the kitchen was going to end up being this really large, weird shaped room, and that's how it was originally. Like the kitchen, well, it wasn't even as open as this. It was like this weird narrow hallway kitchen that opened up to a bigger kitchen, but didn't have another exit into like the living area. So it was, I don't know. As you can tell, I'm not a fan, but I end up moving the dining room into that space, and I feel like it just flows a lot better and makes a lot more sense, and I was able to fit a bar in there, and I thought that was perfect for entertaining. But for now, we're going to try to make this room work, and I was really trying to fit some sort of like a china cabinet or some sort of like a nice hutch or something to put over here, and I thought this one worked pretty nicely. It wasn't quite the right shade of brown, like the wood color was not quite right, but I was trying to make it work, and I figured if I just pushed through it, but But once I move the dining room, it all comes together and works out pretty nicely. But there I just placed the basement, so here in a little while we will create an entryway down into that room. So that's pretty cool. I was really happy to be able to add a basement in this house because that's something I don't add that often, and I always see comments of people wanting to see basements, but I definitely feel like in a house that's old like this, it needs to have one. But that's probably something I should add in houses more often, but I don't really think about them. I guess that's probably because I don't see too many houses with basements. At least where I'm from, basements aren't that common, so maybe it's something I'll work on because I definitely see a lot of people wanting to see more basements. But this house has one, so that's really exciting. And this room has pretty much come together, and then we will just move it all over to the next room here in just a few seconds, which yeah, I just think it works so much better. So let me know if you guys think this was a good decision. The kitchen does end up being a lot smaller than it would have been originally, but I felt like it was more important to have a large dining space than a larger kitchen. The kitchen still is a pretty good size though. It has a nice island. It doesn't have an eat-in kitchen nook like the original kitchen did, but I still think it works. And I was able to use the larger cabinet here in just a second, the larger hutch, which just matches the wood tone so much better. So this one came with cats and dogs, and the wood tone was just a lot better. So I was really happy about that. I do really like the one that came with Jungle Adventure. It's just really pretty. It has such a nice like shape to it, so I definitely want to use that in more builds, but wasn't the right one for this one. And then over here where I'm trying to place a lounge chair is where I end up putting the bar, and I thought this was really nice. Just such a nice house for entertaining. Is that correct? I feel like I heard that or read that somewhere. Maybe I should actually pull up the like wiki on the Goth family, but I'm gonna stick with that they're a family that likes to entertain, and if I'm wrong, then that's okay. But yeah, I definitely feel like this was a better space for the dining room, and I feel like it looks really nice. I was trying to fit some sort of like bottles or wine up on the wall, but there really wasn't the space for it, and I didn't think it was too necessary. But here I am going to place where the staircase is going to be, so I was still trying to make the bathroom work in this space, but it was just going to be so small. I mean, it still ends up being a small bathroom, but I wanted the staircase to be far enough away from the archway that I could put a wall and a door there, and the Sims would be able to get to everything just fine. And so I end up moving the bathroom over here, which feels like it would be a little bit of a weird cramped space to have a bathroom, but it works fine. I actually don't show the furnishing of this one, but I do show the two upstairs, but it's just a smaller version of the other two, so you're not really missing out on anything, so don't worry. But now we are finally on into the furnishing of the kitchen, and I really like the way it turns out. I feel like it still has an old style to it, but it looks updated in some way. And there I just changed the tile to the blue tile, which I just think looks so much better. And I end up switching these windows out for smaller ones. That way I can fit the stove over here and make the island a little bit smaller, because I don't really like placing stoves right in front of windows. I feel like there would be grease splatter or something silly like that, so that's the reason I don't do that. But I was really happy with this change because I end up adding a brick backsplash behind the stove, and it just looks really nice, and I feel like it looks old but updated. Like I said, I just feel like it works so nicely, so I was really happy with that, and end up going with black appliances, which I don't normally do, so I felt like that worked pretty nicely in here. And I kind of struggled with curtains. I don't know why it was so difficult. I think I ended up going to the first ones that I pulled out just because they were simple, and yeah, these ones right here, they look okay. I really didn't have like the perfect curtain for those windows, I felt like, but I think those work. And then putting some bar stools at the counter so your Sims can sit there and have breakfast. They don't have to sit at the formal dining table. But yeah, I think that works really nicely. And then putting a little china hutch there. I didn't put any pet items in here. Actually, maybe I did. I don't know. Okay, so in my save that I'm creating, I think I gave them a cat. So if I didn't put any in this build, I will definitely put it in my save. Actually, I haven't even uploaded this to the gallery yet, so I can put pet items in there before I upload it to the gallery, because I can't remember if I added a food bowl or not, or a litter box. But I definitely wanted them to have a cat. It's so cute. I can't wait to show you guys all of the stuff that I've been doing with my save file. It's going to be so much fun. It's actually coming along pretty nicely. I have been using some of my old builds, which is helping, but I'm just trying to place everything to where it makes sense and feels cohesive, because I really want the worlds to look put together and that they make sense. So that was part of my reason with changing this house so much, but oh well. Anyways, so now we're on to the upstairs, and this is going to be Alexander's room. So I feel like this is such a huge upgrade to his original like weird dungeon tower bedroom. It's not really a dungeon because it was like a tower, but it was such a dark, weird room, and it wasn't fun for a kid at all. And I gave him this cool little science table and a nice big desk and bookcase. Now you can't really get to that bookcase, but I feel like it just looks really cool. I do that trick pretty frequently, and I just think it looks really nice and creates kind of a custom piece of furniture. But I'm just adding some decorations around. I get some posters up on the wall, which I thought looked really cute and make the room look a little bit more lived in. I also get him a toy box and place it at the end of the bed, and I thought that was really nice to have somewhere to place your toys. And then I get a mirror over here and a laundry hamper, and then also in a little while I also put that, I guess it's a Void Critter video game thing. It's that giant game thing that you can place on the ground. So I placed that on the floor. I thought that was perfect. This is a pretty big room. I thought that we should definitely have that in here. And other than that, I think, oh yeah, I get him a school project, and there's that video game thing, so I thought that would be a lot of fun for him to play around with. But other than that, I just clutter up this desk over here with a few little items. I also gave him that Boy Scouts manual, I guess it is, or a Boy Scouts journal, I'm not exactly sure, but I thought that was kind of fun. Maybe he'd be interested in joining some sort of activity like that. Thought that was kind of a fun idea, and then just putting a couple other little decorations around, but I think that's about it for this room. So I'm very happy with the way it turned out. Oh yeah, pulling a few little decorations up, but super cute room. Really happy with the way that turns out. But this is going to be Cassandra's room. So originally her room was like pink, I guess, kind of like a purpley pink, kind of a weird color. So I wanted to stick with some pinks, but I ended up going with a lot more black. So you'll notice that change here in a little while. And I do change this wallpaper here in a second, but I go back to the pink in the end just to kind of soften it up a little bit, because at this point I wasn't too sure, but I feel like Cassandra is the type of girl who is really creative and really smart, but into kind of different stuff, like maybe into witchcraft. I mean, we don't have witchcraft in the game, but we have vampires, so maybe she's kind of into vampires and kind of like studies them and like reads up about them and kind of just nerds out on them a little bit. Maybe she reads some like books about them, I don't know. And I kind of just imagine she was really into music, and she kind of reminds me of this girl that I went to school with. She was a year older than me, and I guess she called herself a Wiccan, if I remember correctly, but she kind of dressed like kind of a goth girl, but kind of a gypsy girl, and that's not how I dressed Cassandra when I gave her a makeover, but it's kind of the character or personality kind of reminded me of this girl I went to school with. She was just really cool and really unique and just a really nice person, and so I thought that was kind of fun, and so I guess I was kind of thinking about her while decorating this room. So maybe she would like this room. I don't know. I haven't talked to her in years, but anyways, so I get her a desk over here, and she also gets a computer. So like I said, both of the kids get a computer, but poor old Mortimer, who's a writer, has to, I guess, bum a computer from one of his kids if he wants to do any writing. Maybe he doesn't get much writing done, but like I said, you could definitely add a home office, but I'm really happy that I ended up switching this wallpaper back to pink. I just think it works so nicely, and I had forgot that I had this space over here for a closet. So here in a moment, I do end up putting a walk-in closet. So each of the bedrooms have a walk-in closet. The master bedroom doesn't have one of the get-together walk-in closets. I create like a custom walk-in wardrobe, which I think looks really nice. But just swapping all of the items over, so I moved the desk in front of the windows right here, which I think looks really cute. I just cluttered it up with certain items. And I also placed a violin in here because I noticed there was a violin in the original build. It was up on the upstairs landing by the piano, but when I went to go take the screenshots of the original house, Cassandra like immediately went to that violin and started playing. So I guess she's into it. So I put one in her room and thought that she plays violin for fun, maybe for school, I don't know, but definitely want to have that item in there. This is going to be the walk-in closet to the master bedroom. So this is the same place that the bathroom was originally. I think I may have just changed the sides of it slightly, maybe, I'm not sure. But obviously flipped around to where the entryway is. And I was going to put the vanity in here to begin with, but I felt like it was, I don't know. I felt like it'd be better to have the vanity in the actual bedroom, so I just put the clothing rack up on the wall and some shoes and some mirrors. It's not really a usable space, but it looks cool. And this is going to be the master bathroom. So like I said, I didn't show the downstairs one, but I do show this one and then the family bathroom. I just think they turned out so nice, and had a lot of fun using the vampire game pack items in here with the old school toilet and shower, and it just in that blue color I thought was just a lot of fun. So definitely let me know what you guys think. And I didn't clutter it up too much, I guess, with items. I put a few little clutter items up on the counters, just some like makeup and maybe some flowers. I can't remember exactly. It has been some time that I have renovated this. I'm not exactly sure how long, but this house, the pancakes house, and that pink house right next to the pancakes house, I always forget what it's called, but that one I've had renovated forever, and I need to start working on some more renovations because I want to get these ones shared with you guys. But like I mentioned last time, I don't want to like overkill you guys with renovations. I still want to share my regular builds and, you know, apartment renovations. And actually I have a room build that I just did, which was so much fun, and I created some like custom, well, I say they're custom. Well, they're custom. Yeah, they are. Photographs. So I just took pictures of like artwork in game, and I'm so mad because for whatever reason they're glitching out and saying that they're custom content. But all I did was use the camera that we have in game and the photography skill to take pictures of artwork, and then I uploaded them to the gallery. And they didn't get flagged as being custom content, but as soon as I use them in a build, then there's flagging that build as having custom content. So it's really annoying. I even asked on Twitter if anybody had any suggestions, and some people were like, just remove your mods folder and turn off your custom content and it should be fine. And that didn't even work. And so then I was like, well, are all of my like, you know, custom artwork that I've done before not work? And so I downloaded my other rooms from the gallery that I've done before and tried to use them, and they all work. So it's just those ones that I've taken, and I spent so much time on them, so it's not like I can redo them, and for whatever reason they're just glitched out. It's so annoying. It doesn't really bother me that the game thinks that they're custom content. The only reason it bothers me is because it's hidden on the gallery when things have custom content in them, even though it's not custom content. So it's kind of frustrating. So hopefully that's just a weird bug and that'll change. We will see. But I've rambled through this upstairs landing area and the family bathroom, but that came together, and this upstairs landing area, like I said, I imagined was like the informal living space. I got the video game console and a TV there, so definitely the kids can hang out here or the family can hang out here to watch TV, but I just really imagined it would be the space where the kids would go and hang out when they didn't want to be in their rooms if the family was having like a big party with a lot of adults that they didn't really want to hang out with. But this is the master bedroom, and I really like the way this room turns out. It is ginormous. This is like one of the biggest rooms I've decorated for a bedroom in such a long time. I feel like all of the builds that I used to do, like when I first got The Sims, were kind of like this, where I'd have like these really awkward large rooms because I couldn't quite judge how big the house was going to be when I would build it, and I would use up the entire lot, kind of like this house, how it uses up the entire lot, and then I have all these giant bedrooms. But I think I make it work. And very happy I don't build like that anymore because it was very hard to furnish, and that's kind of how I felt with this room. I felt like it was a little bit hard to furnish. I think it comes together in the end, and using this vampire lounge chair like I was trying to use down in the dining room, but I felt like it worked perfectly right there. And I was going to place a fireplace in here, but I ended up moving the vanity over to that spot and put a couple more of those tall chairs that came with vampires in this corner, with some flowers, and yeah, I just think it looks really nice. I definitely feel like Bella is the type of sim that would have a vanity, so I was very happy to be able to use that. I was trying to use this tall wardrobe. I think I just ended up leaving this dresser over here with this other this same painting that I used downstairs, so I did have to repeat it once, but I felt like it just worked so perfectly. It kind of reminded me of Mortimer so much, so very happy to use that. But here I am pulling out these tall chairs from the Vampires game pack, and I thought about switching them over to this blue color, and I toyed with the idea for a while, but I ended up switching back to like a cream color just because I feel like the blue's nice. It's really pretty, but it wasn't too cohesive and just stood out too much for my liking. So I decided to switch it back, and yeah, I think it was a good decision, and really do like the way this room turns out. It's pretty spacious, but I feel like I was able to add enough items to make it not feel like it was like awkward dead space, because I kind of have an issue with that, I think, when building, that I feel like something has to be in every single nook and cranny, otherwise it feels like the build is empty. But so that's kind of the reasons why I don't really like large bedrooms, but I feel like this one works and it looks really grand. But here I am switching those colors back, which they just look a lot nicer, I think. Definitely want to use those blue colors in a different build, but just not this one. And I thought about switching out the rug for a different rug, but I just kept the original one in the end. Oh, and I placed this bar globe thing right there in their bedroom, which is pretty nice. But now we are on to the exterior, and I just add some flower boxes to the windows, which I just thought looked really nice. And I just like adding flower boxes. I think they just look so cute, and I felt like these ones suited the windows pretty nice. So that's what I did. And for the landscaping, I kept it pretty green. I thought about doing a fence again. Like the original one had a fence, so that's why I was doing that. But I felt like it was better without one, and just used a lot of green plants, and I used some roses and some white flowers, and just tried to make it blend in with Willow Creek as best as I could. Tried to use some of the similar flowers that they have in the surrounding areas, but trying to keep in mind the Goth family, and I felt like they would want some roses, so that's why we have some, and a few little rocks here and there. But I think it looks really nice, and it looks a little bit overgrown as an old house would, I think. I feel like they would keep it a little bit manicured, enough to where it doesn't grow up the side of the house, but it's still an old house, so it would be pretty overgrown. And then just putting some bushes along the side of the house just to kind of tie it in a little bit better, I felt. And then I just felt like closing in the backyard with some bushes, and then yeah, making it a nice little private area, but still pretty open to the rest of the neighborhood. And then, like I said, I do get a swimming pool back here, and I also put a fountain next to the swimming pool, which I thought looked really pretty as well. And I also end up using this terrain paint for the entire backyard. So I thought that was kind of different, something I don't normally do. Normally I would have some grass, but I felt like why not do something a little bit different. But they get the barbecuer out here, and then a swing set too. Like I said, I felt like Alexander needs somewhere to play because there was literally nothing to do back here. It was so sad. And they do have a place to sit and eat, and the swimming pool is pretty small, but I think it gets the job done, and it does look pretty, looks pretty nice, and very happy with the way it turns out. And I also get a couple of lounge chairs that I'll pull out here in a second. And I do change the color of those when I was playtesting the house, because I go with this like dark brown color that I think it looked okay, but it didn't really match the rest of the build, so I ended up changing it to like a gray color, and gray and white, I think, off camera. So you'll notice that change in the screenshots. But also adding a tree over here, and I think I do, yeah, just a small tree. I thought about adding like one of those really big trees, but it was just a little bit overpowering. But here I am placing the dining table. I end up moving it, I think, to the other side of the pool, and then I place the lounge chairs in that spot, and then switch the barbecuer over for this swing set, which, yeah, I was very happy about. And I also put some real flowers here. Well, not real flowers, but regular landscaping flowers, I guess, in the flower boxes, but you could definitely switch those out for plants that you want to grow in your game. But here I am creating the Ottomans. Now I do this a lot next to my swimming pools. I really feel like we need actual lounge chairs for our swimming pools, but I don't mind creating my own with move objects. I think they look pretty cool, but just kind of struggling to pick out the right colors. So the colors that I end up going with here in a second I don't keep them. They look a little bit weird. I feel like they would work in another build, but the browns just really didn't work with this build. So that's why I changed it in the end. And then I get a lemonade pitcher out here on the stand, which I thought would be so nice to be able to sit there and have some lemonade by the pool. It's just so cozy. But here is that basement that I've been talking about the whole build. It's pretty simple. It's really nothing too exciting. I wasn't quite sure what to do with this space, but I knew I wanted them to have a washer and dryer in the house since I gave them some laundry hampers, and I figured the basement would be a pretty good place to do it, and it would probably be pretty realistic for an old house, maybe? Is that correct? I don't know. But yeah, hopefully you guys have enjoyed this renovation. I definitely had a lot of fun renovating this house, and hopefully you're looking forward to the renovation of the pancakes home, because I had a lot of fun renovating that one as well, and I'm really excited to share it with you guys. But anyways, we are coming up on the end of the video, so I hope you do enjoy the screenshots. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and please leave any comments or suggestions that you have, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye!